Very interesting interview with a Maga grandma who was a big Trump supporter and now says she is so upset over the price increases that she is seeing and the Trump economy that she is having literal panic attacks. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
I actually have panic attacks. I've had a couple this past week. And I get very emotional over it. I don't want to work anymore, but I can't afford to retire.
Obviously, President Trump is immensely wealthy, has been wealthy since he was born.
Yeah.
Do you think he understands?
No. He hasn't lived it to understand it. He sees it. He has not lived it. He needs to live it. Wear the clothes. Wear the shoes. Wear your Walmart clothes. Wear your Walmart shoes. Do your thrift store shopping. Don't eat steaks. I don't get to go out to dinner. It's not an overnight thing. But it's been 2 years now. You said you'd bring down the grocery prices. Literally, I must be the most angry person when I grocery shop because I buy the same things every week. And I see it jump every week. It is not every couple months. It's literally every week.
So she is not happy. Hard to imagine that woman enthusiastically turning up to vote for Republicans in the midterms, given her upset over their handling. Does that mean she'll vote for Democrats? No, probably not. Is she one that just says, you know what, I got other things to do on Election Day. I'm just not showing up. This party does not deserve my support at this moment. That seems very likely, if not probable. And there was a write-up in the New York Times of their recent polling with regard to a group that has long been considered Trump's strongest base of support, which is the white working class. And they are in a very different mindset for these midterms versus where they were for the 2018 midterms. We can put this next element up on the screen. So back in 2018, working class voters approved of Trump on the economy by 30 plus points. So whatever else concerns they may have had, they were like, look, this is working for me. Okay. I feel like I've got more money in my pocket. I feel like things are speeding along by 30 points. Okay. Now they disapprove of his handling of the economy by as much as that margin. So minus 30 points. And then they have a deeper look at the way some of these voters are feeling about Trump. And that really is a night and day difference between this term and the last time he was in office, Sagar, where I think a big part of the reason he got back into office is because people looked at that time and were like, well, I felt pretty good about the economy then, and I feel pretty bad about the economy now. So, this guy's the businessman, that's his core brand. Now, between not only the tariffs, but obviously the tariffs and the Iran war, people feel completely differently, where his lowest approval ratings are on the economy, on inflation, and on cost of living. So when you consider, how will these midterms compare with what was a very negative midterm result for them in 2018, I think all the signs are there that this will be an even bigger wave for Democrats.
I think what's interesting about the working class polls, and if you read, very deeply into all of these numbers, the blue collar white voter, and that MAGA grandma is like a perfect example. Now, these people are not Democrats. Like, it's actually very clear. And I think even, one of our guests yesterday was talking about this as well with young men.
Yeah, Luke was saying.
Yeah, Luke was like, look, these people aren't Dems, but they're still mad. And being mad, sometimes they can be converted a significant slice. And ultimately, as the trite expression goes, it comes down to turnout. But in 2018, the white working class had a very low drop in the amount of approval that Donald Trump has had. But now, you're near 40% in terms of the reservoir of goodwill. It's completely evaporated. I also think it was such a potent talking point back in 2024. Make America 2019 again. How could somebody not want that? You had low inflation, you had decent growth. Yes, what was the famous saying that they would be like, all I had were some bad tweets. It's like, yeah, okay. Seems tolerable in comparison to what we've just had to experience over the last 4 years. But now, when you have a bad economy, you have no reduction in inflation. You actually have an increase in the overall inflation. You have no change in overall housing. And you have, how long has Trump been in office? Almost 2 years. No, well, it's a year and a half or so. An almost total and complete focus at this point on foreign affairs with the signature achievement and, memory. Ultimately, when we write the history books, on the admin, this is it. And everybody knows it, including the people who are involved, from the Israeli side and from the anti-war side. Everybody knows that war ultimately defines everything about your presidency. And so that's what he decided to make his ultimate gamble on. And with the economy continuing in the direction that it already was, even before the Iran war, on top of what just happened, it's very obvious that even those people coming back, it's going to be very, very difficult. You would have to see a massive material change in the U.S. economy, which on autopilot, we know that's not happening, absent significant government intervention.
Yeah, well, and this ties in with the block we just did about how, look, you may have a deal. It may even come together in 60 days. There's still going to be months, and the Trump administration is outright saying this, months of disruption to the energy markets. Things are not going to just go back to the way that they were. And voters understand where to place the blame because I think because he has such a, larger than life personality, takes such personal control over everything anyway. And then also because the tariffs and the war are directly laid at his feet. So why you're paying more at the pump. And, the other piece, Sagar, is he hasn't done himself any favors rhetorically. When you come out and you say, quote, I love the inflation.
Yes, yeah.
When you come out and you say, I don't think about Americans' financial situation at all. Yeah. You don't think Democrats are going to run that on a loop until Election Day? 100%, as they should. And, you can claim it was out of context. We played for you the entire context. No, he was articulating exactly what it sounded like he was articulating. And I think that comes through in that woman's comments as well, where she says he hasn't lived it. So he doesn't understand. I want him to go out and wear the Walmart clothes and know what it's like for us struggling to get by. Another area that's interesting, put the last element here up on the screen, is there was a lot of fanfare about the significant gains that Trump had made among working class Latino men in particular, but among Latinos overall. Man, that has also fallen off a cliff. You now have 64% of Latinos with a disapproval of Trump, only 34% approve. 77% of voters between ages 18 and 29 disapprove of Trump compared to 21% who approve. So also the vaunted, improvement with young voters, that has all dissipated. Again, that doesn't mean these people have become resistance liberal Democrats, super excited to vote for Roy Cooper in North Carolina or whatever. But these tend to be infrequent voters. They're just not going to show up. They're going to register their disgust by staying home on Election Day. The only group where Trump has maintained solid support is with Republicans. And even there, the percent that say that they strongly approve of him has fallen. And that is a really significant change from, the entirety of his political career since he really, came on the scene in 2014, 2015. So, that also is going to have an impact on midterm enthusiasm and who ultimately shows up to vote. The thing of I don't know whether he truly doesn't care, but he certainly acts like he doesn't really care what happens in the midterms anyway. No, I guess you could make an argument that the very fact that he made such a push for a deal right now is because he was concerned about the political impact, but there's just no real sign that this is something he's focused on.
I have no inside information. This is my theory of observing this man now for a decade. Depressing. Having spent my entire professional life trying to psychoanalyze this person. I think the way that JD and the Rick Coff and all those guys got to him was this. Sir, and look at the way that they're selling it. We are going to transform the entire Middle East. Mm-hmm. The way that they sold it to him is like
the legacy building project.
It's like you will bring peace, the peacemaker, Trump, the peacemaker, to Persia, the first of his name, Donald Trump. To march in the gates of Persia, and he loves that. Right? He loved the idea of conquering it. He loves even more the idea of normalizing relations with the whole region. That's why only Trump could attack them, demand unconditional surrender, and then turn them into an economic powerhouse. Literally nobody else could do that. But that's how they appeal to his vanities. You will appear in this historic peace deal, and that's the way that we'll get everything going. The Israelis did it to him. That's how they got him to attack in the first place. So the other side basically did the same thing. I don't think he cares whatsoever about the midterms because the administration has given up on domestic concerns. Again, like if you vote for Republicans in the midterm elections, what are you voting for?
Right.
Like what?
Well, and it's not like
there's nothing on the table. There's not even like a deal, nothing.
Yeah. And the only thing that they really worked with Congress on at all was the big, beautiful bill.
Correct. Which is gone.
Which
and
is done.
Has been wiped out.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, he does, when he wants to do something, he just does it through executive order and then implements it and then dares the courts to pull him back, which they mostly haven't done. So he doesn't really care that much about Congress. He himself is immune from criminal investigations of any sort of, wrongdoing or as many corrupt dealings, et cetera. So while obviously it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of Republicans who are facing subpoenas and various investigations if Democrats are in control, like Trump doesn't care about them either. So I think it's genuine. That was another thing he said. He said, I don't care about the midterms. Remember, he said that. And I think he's right. I think he's telling the truth there. I don't think that he thinks about it all that much because if he did, then you might see some different moves. I don't think he'd be out there saying, I love the inflation and I don't care about your financial situation if he was really thinking about what the political consequences
he really should care because it's going to be Clinton 2.0 if the Dems win. I mean, it really is going to be a nightmare.
Well, the reason he should care is because of that legacy piece because I mean, his legacy is already going to be a mess, whether he knows it or not. But if you spend the last 2 years of your presidency just having, various of your officials like under scrutiny for corrupt dealings and, if it's just investigation after investigation and that's what the entire news cycle is about day after day after day, it's not going to be a great legacy builder for you.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, people should recall, like the Clinton administration, there's some modern histories of 96 to 2000. It was nonstop. The Kenneth Starr nonsense, like it just went on forever. Like that is what modern Fox News is built off of Lewinsky and Ken Starr and Whitewater and the Rose Law. Like it was... Oh my God! Like no president would want to live through that. I mean, you can even see. Remember some of the Obama administration too. Whenever he had to deal with the Republican Congress, I mean, it was over for him. They tried to do the grand bargain on Social Security, and from that point forward, that's why he did the Iran deal. Actually, in retrospect, that's why he became obsessed with foreign affairs. He couldn't do anything else. So that's just with the House. Now imagine with both the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
Oh my! It'll pass nothing. It'll turn into a nightmare. You have total subpoena power. Every day of your White House and administration will be dealt with a new attack, a new hearing, a new trial. I mean, they'll put them on trial. I mean, who even knows, right? And they have, all of the ability. Every single member of Congress will be required, or every single cabinet official will be living before Capitol Hill. Every guy who ever served in Doge will have $1 million in private legal bills. Like it's gonna be bad.
Epstein investigations, cover-up investigations, all the stuff that he clearly did not want to talk about is going to be dragged front and center every single day. And I think at this point, I think Democrats will take the House. I think it's more likely than not that they take the Senate as well, which is really crazy because the landscape for them was so difficult coming in. They have to win in places like Ohio and Alaska or Texas to be able to take the Senate. And yet I think given, the numbers that we just showed you, I think that is more likely than not. But hey, you never know. We've seen crazy things happen.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Enton gave that warning on the generic ballot. He was like, look, Dems are, they're doing well, but they're still not exactly where they need to be because there's still a lot of dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party. I think the problem with this analysis is that people may not like the Democratic Party. People didn't love the Republican Party either in 2010, but they hated Obama or they stayed home. So it could work out to their benefit. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. We're about to do the AMA, so you could stick around for that, or I guess you will have watched it already by the time this comes out. There'll be a Wednesday show. They'll see you then. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show. Help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.
Hello and welcome back, guys. So you see this Maga grandma complaining about the things that she goes through in this era of Trump administration. The grandma was a great Trump supporter who had hopes that when Trump becomes president, everything will be okay on her side. She knew Trump was on their side. This grandma represents many whites, Not all of them, but a bigger percentage of this white community had great hopes in this orange man. Many saw him as theirs. They knew that this man belonged to their community. That's why they came out in large numbers to vote for him as their president, knowing that he would favor his community. But looking at this grandma, looking at her talk, you feel that disappointment in her, because everything that she expresses her fears about the way things are going. You know, many Maga believed that in Trump they will get the easiest life than those blacks. They knew Trump would make America great by making whites' life easier and deporting blacks or forcing blacks to work on their farms. These people went on the ballot with more expectations and voted emotionally, not because of the policies. They went to vote against the blacks. They voted to punish the black community. They didn't want blacks to have their way, so every decision they made was for their good and against the blacks. But the way things are looking right now is not the way these people expected. Anyway, that's why they are everywhere, talking and shouting. Even online, they are all over trending with their complaints and disappointments, not knowing that these are the same people that voted this administration in. They should blame none but themselves for the failures that they are going through. The decision that they made at the ballot is what is biting them. Now the orange man is making poor decisions that are causing the life in that country unbearable. Things like going to war, a decision that has affected the economy of that country and the whole world. The prices of fuel and gas are skyrocketing. Better healthcare is not part of his mind. Every day he wakes up with stories and ego that doesn't help these people and speeches that cause more harm to these people. Now these whites are stressed. They don't know where to run to. They don't know where to run for help. They are now turning their anger to blacks, wondering if these people are colliding with that government to oppose them, oppress them. They are always asking themselves why these blacks are not complaining about these things that they are going through. They wonder why blacks are going ahead with their lives as usual. What these people don't know is that blacks are used to those struggles. You know, these blacks put in twice more efforts that these whites used to survive in that country. Now what these whites thought that was going to hound the blacks is now on their doors, hitting them hard. Sometimes you can do something to punish your neighbor, but the same very thing comes back at you and make more harm to you. So always be careful when you make decisions, because they say choices have consequences. So these people should expect more worse than it is right now. You should stand strong the way blacks have been from the beginning. Thanks for thanks for your time. I appreciate. If you are not subscribe, please consider doing so. Let's make this a bigger community. Also remember to leave a comment. I'd like to know your thoughts. Also share, like, and see you on my next episode.